Yeah, and he doesn't come up with dumb theories like Jake.
Would you rather smooch Jake or JSF? Why not both? Yeah, why not both?
I mean, why is it a choice between the two when you can have both?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. Like, for you guys, you started with Dark Souls 3 lore right around when the game came out.
Yeah.
And like, or at least for you specifically, Jake. But like honestly, if you've been like 2 months later, like it'd be too late. You know, like it's really all about timing.
No, like, and honestly, I've said this a few times in some of my videos. I don't know how I got to where I did because I started it when I got into, not like an argument, but you know, like a discussion with one of my friends. I was like, dude, I think Rosario's actually Gertrude. He's like, nah, dude, that's fucking stupid. And so I was like, no, okay, you know what? I can't physically explain this to you, or like, I can't just tell you. I'm gonna fucking show you. So I made some video.
Was that Redgrave from the future? Go back in time to tell you the theory's dumb?
What's up, Aegon?
Oh, dude, everyone has a better beard than fuck you all.
Yeah.
Mine's not anywhere near better than yours.
There's a
My
beard
beard
stream.
is trash. Dude, I've got like this fucking like just patch here where no hair grows and this patch here.
So do I, but that's why I put the camera on this side, because that's the good side.
It's still better. Like my fucking mustache doesn't even touch the rest of it or anything. It's just fucking trash.
Oh man.
I look like a goddamn hobo.
Dude, that's why you just gotta do the chin strap then, you know? Or there's other styles you can go with.
No, because that requires me to actually like shave and keep it respectable. I just like fuck it, just leave this.
Yeah.
My beard is like actually quite like fairly long considering I have a
Thank you
shitty
very
beard.
much.
So do I, but I'm hiding it behind a hat, so it's fine.
You can see the corner of me in the stream. Oh, there's the ponytail.
I'm
Yeah, I think my
almost
hair's
getting it.
probably longest.
Yeah, my hair's not too long right now.
Oh wait, is that your username? On Skype?
What?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
I was just trying to
Whoa, what is
freak
this?
out Jake.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Jake, you don't use maintain aspect ratio.
Who needs
No,
aspect ratio?
I'm not that good at this, okay?
Oh my god. So a couple times where I'm just like, that doesn't quite look like it's the right aspect ratio. I wonder if he's stretching it. And
No, it
oh,
is.
that looks alright. It looks alright for me because mine is actually in 16:9, but Leo's is like, what is that? A hookah?
Vape. I.
A vape?
Yeah, and do the whole not smoking thing. So.
Oh, me too. Don't worry. It's.
Oh, dude, I've got this.
That's why I'm
nifty-
always. Because people always ask why I'm always chewing gum, and I'm like, well, because I smoked for 15 years, and yeah, I've been trying to get off of the nicotine gum now.
See, I've got a nifty little. Well, the reason I like the vape is like move down to 0 nicotine on it, but I've got this nifty tiny little yoke as well as this big behemoth of a thing.
That's nice. Well,
So-
any kind of vape I think is better than no vape. So who else have I missed already?
Paragon came in here in Redgrave. I think those are the only two you missed, right?
Yeah.
So
Hey,
Yeah.
You haven't
Mitch
asked him the waifu question yet.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, standard question coming into the stream, Aegon. Who's the best Soulsborne waifu?
you mean Souls waifu? Because I don't prescribe to this whole Soulsborne business because I think it sounds dumb as hell.
Okay.
And Bloodborne is a Souls game, so Souls.
Okay,
The best Souls waifu.
there we go.
Either
That's what it was
Maria
originally, but
or-
I changed it.
What's that?
That's what it was originally, but I changed it because people were talking about Bloodborne, so I just said Soulsborne.
No, it's Souls.
Yeah.
Well, originally
least
you
for-
specified Dark Souls waifu.
Oh yeah, well, same shit. Anyway,
No, fuck you. It's not the same shit. And anyone who doesn't say Shannon
Doesn't matter, it's Ebriatus, alright?
Yeah, I would accept that. That's a good answer, I think.
Shannon or quit.
What's that?
Shannon or quit.
I like Shan a lot, but I don't know. I think it's Lady Maria or Lady Elfrida, and it would have to be
I haven't played Bloodborne
one of those
yet,
two.
so.
No? Oh well.
respect
Oh,
that.
Jake. Yeah, that's what I've been meaning to ask. Are you like? Where are you in the playthrough, and how are you enjoying it so far?
I just beat the Bloodletted Beast. I believe that's what it's called. and I've
Bloodletting beast.
Bloodletting, yeah, and I'm gonna upload that episode tonight.
So
I
you're
thought
doing
I'd
Chalice
upload it.
Dungeons?
Is that a Chalice Dungeon?
Wait, is this your first time playing Bloodborne?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh shit! I'm so jealous.
And I've avoided spoilers for what, 3 fucking years now.
I don't know how you
Oh,
manage
man.
that.
Bloodborne's so good.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
I
so
really
good.
By
like
going whenever anyone was talking about it.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I really do so far.
I love it so much.
Yeah, me and fucking Alfred. Fucking...
So you defeated the blood. Oh, you mean the blood-starved beast, not the bloodletting beast.
Yeah.
Blood-starved beast. So you made your way through Old Yarnum?
Yep. Yeah.
Did you resolve things with the chain gun dude?
No, see, I was getting my ass kicked by him, and then the next episode, people were like, "Oh, you should just try to just not do him right now." So I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll just go this way," because I didn't know really where I was fucking going, and then I ended up fighting that boss, and so yeah.
The exact same thing happened to me, except I actually went back later in the playthrough because I didn't really have anyone. Is that at the time I think I had like something like 100 subscribers at most or something like that when I was doing my Bloodborne blind playthrough. So I didn't really have all that many people commenting to say like, yeah, you screwed up, you should go back. But I went back on my own court and friggin' slaughtered him anyway. So
nice.
Did you find Eckert the mummy yet?
No.
that's the best part of the game, I think.
Yeah, he has the most lore.
Yeah. Now I was gonna spend like the next episode or 2 just like finishing up exploring Yarnum and all that shit before I actually left.
I figured instead of spoiling something by saying, "Have you gotten
Just
to this
say
point yet?" to just make up a
Yeah.
total character.
Yeah, that wasn't anything like actually. That's why I hesitated for a second. I was like, oh yeah, that's the best part.
You just blindly went with it. Oh yeah.
Yep.
If I could show you guys something really quick, I don't know.
Jake,
Okay,
put your
so-
feet away.
There's 2 things. First, I live in Tennessee, which is like pretty south, but not like super south. But yesterday it was literally 18 degrees, right? Would you want to take a guess on what the temperature is here today? And this is just how our fucking climate works.
I don't know how.
45.
No, it's 68 degrees here today.
Okay.
What is that in actual temperature in Celsius?
I agree with you, thank you. And what way are dates written?
Say what?
It's like, yeah,
Okay.
freezing is 33 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm like, why the fuck not just make it 0? Like, honestly.
And then
Also,
there
what way
is
are
this.
dates written?
This is in America. You guys won't see it if you're watching the stream until it shows up. But this is a yard-long Snickers bar that I bought from fucking Walmart, which I was actually disappointed in because it's not actually a yard-long Snickers bar. It is just... And I've eaten most of them. Excuse my fat ass. Oh, this
Where
is
did you buy that from?
Walmart. It's just
I was
18
gonna say-
Snickers bars.
I was just imagining. I was like, the only place I could ever imagine that being is Walmart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely Walmart.
Damn it. Wow.
But yeah, I'm from
Yo,
Chicago.
hook me
And
up
that's
with
about,
some of that. Oh my god, there's only one left.
Now there's another
so
sleeve.
Chicago, it's about the same thing.
Yeah.
There's
Where,
another sleeve.
Chicago will do the same thing with the weather. We'll be like 10 degrees and then 60, and you're
Yeah.
like, make up your damn mind.
We got a tornado watch
Insane
here too,
60.
apparently. So if my power ever goes out, I apologize.
We'll
So
just
right
assume
now,
you're dead.
it is 0 in Toronto. So precisely at the point, freezing point. So what is that in Fahrenheit? What's the freezing?
32,
Someone in chat said 33.
Hey,
Or
hey,
30.
Rob,
33?
33 or 32.
what
Sounds
way do
right.
you write dates?
What?
What way would you write the date?
The proper way.
The day, the month, the year.
Yeah,
There
I go
you go,
month, day,
Jake.
year.
No.
I
That's
go month,
retarded.
day, year.
See,
Open a calendar.
Canada's
Open a calendar.
weird
What do you see
because
first? You see the fucking month. Then you
I
see
know,
the
No,
day.
but-
civilized.
Canada's different because we're like the adopted stepchild of the UK, but we're also America's hat, right? So
It's America, but civilized.
why don't we talk about what games we're all currently playing, that whether or not they're Dark Souls games?
Dude, that I'm down for.
Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, playing through it again.
Really?
I fucking love that game.
Yo, I really want to play that game, and I sold my PSP like several years ago, so I'm really annoyed about that.
You might not be into emulators, but PPSSPP is a really good PSP emulator.
Emulators are too too much. That's why I have a Retron
No.
5. Emulator's too much. Too
No,
much of a hassle.
this one's actually really easy to use because all you've got to do is have the game, like you have that, you open it up, and then you can put in the game files like anywhere on your computer. It'll automatically find them, and you can find them really easily from there. It's super easy to use.
I still have my
Interesting.
PSP, but I haven't used it in a long time. I actually bought my PSP specifically to hack it way back when I bought it.
I've
Really?
got a Vita sitting on my bed.
Yeah, because I didn't care that much about the games that were out on it at the time, but I really wanted to be able to play NES and Super NES games on the go.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, okay, I'll buy a PSP, hack it, and then I can play NES and Super Nintendo.
That would
and
certainly,
Sega
I think,
Genesis
be
games.
preferable to the Retro Dual Portable, which is like.
Oh, the
It looks
PSP
good.
is great for it.
What's that?
The PSP is actually fantastic for using.
Yeah.
Everything up to Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance is really good on it.
Yeah, well, Super Nintendo just depends on the emulator they have, and they were trying to work on better emulators while I was like into that scene.
Oh,
So some
they've
games
gotten
work
really
great and
good
some
ones out
don't.
now. Yeah, the problem was streamlining how much processing power the emulators needed, because obviously PSPs are limited on how much they can use.
It was
They-
also certain modes work better than worse. Like mode 7
Yeah.
would only work if like mode 5 was turned off and things like that.
And like
Well,
Super FX games would be problematic for that, or no?
Possibly, but the thing is, like, now the emulators are just so much more efficient. Like, you look at the fact that they can get them running on like a phone that is like 5 years old and it's running in a Super Nintendo emulator flawlessly. It's like, oh, I mean, why not?
I'm glad that we're referring to it as Super Nintendo and not SNES or Super NES, which I hear people saying sometimes.
Really?
Super NES.
Yes.
I've never heard Super NES before, ever.
I've heard it, but that's what we call it. Because when I was a kid, it was just like I had a Sega Master System. I didn't have an NES or Nintendo. But we
Wait,
would
and
just call
you're
it.
Canadian?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Not Brazilian, but for whatever reason, I was like really into the Master System.
No, the
But-
only
that
reason I
was
was
also a
asking is because
European
I've been
thing.
working on a history video of the Sega Master. I just finished a history video on the NES, and I'm working on a history video of the Sega Master System
Oh,
right
cool,
now.
man.
Fun fact: Sega dominated the games console market in Europe until obviously
as
the
well
N64.
as well as in Brazil for like long after that.
Oh yeah, a bunch of places
Yeah.
in South America it dominated in. It was pretty much America and Japan. Nintendo dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
But yeah,
this
but
was-
we just
Sega.
called it. We just called the NES Nintendo, and so then when the next one came out, it was the Super Nintendo. So that's what we went with.
Well,
So-
I'm going to start calling it the S Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh god, that would be dumb as hell.
Super
but-
SNES.
Yeah, well, like, it's funny because, I mean, I guess the big thing, though, with the NES is that, and compared to the Master System, is that the America had such a bigger market that it just made way more money than the Master System, even
They
though the
were
Master
also
System was
there
dominant in
first,
Europe.
weren't they?
Yeah, NES was first, but, well, the Famicom was first. So the Sega Master System, I believe, came out before the NES, but after the Famicom, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the Famicom was one of the beautiful looking machines of all time. I love the design of it.
When was the NES? Was that 85?
Yeah, NES was 85, the
I think
Famicom
the
was
Master
83.
System. I think the Master System was 86, actually.
You could be right. I only just started doing research on the... Well, I'm in the middle of reading a bunch of books about the Master System and Genesis. So once I get to, like, going back about, like, the actual dates of it, then I'll have it in my head. It was
My
originally
Master
released in
System-
1985.
Also, the Master System. So they were released the same
Yeah.
year, then, eh?
But, well, released in 85 in Japan.
But that
being
wasn't actually the Master System, was it? It was the SG
It was the Mark
3000,
III.
the Mark III.
But it was the same
Um,
system, they just redesigned it. It's like the Famicom is the same thing as the NES, just redesigned.
But
Yeah,
they
you
did-
are correct though. It released as the Master System in 86 in North America, then 87 in Europe.
Yeah, and then I think in '88 as the Master System in Japan after it was already released as the Mark III, which was
Like-
strange. It made no sense.
Dude, the
Yeah.
old school Sega systems, they just all looked cool.
I mean, look at this, man. That's fucking well. Other than don't mind the dust. There's a lot of dust, but because I played on a Retron 5. But
I don't know,
yeah,
if I'm being honest, the original Master System reminds me too much of an Atari 2600 to be super cool looking.
Hey, don't
I'm
diss
like, I
Atari
don't know, man.
2600.
I presume that was probably intentional at the time. They tried to give it that like hi-fi look, right?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
Except it doesn't have wood grain, so that's automatic
Yeah.
points lost.
It's one of those things where, like, the Nintendo specifically, and like a lot of companies were trying to follow, like Master Sega was just trying to copy Nintendo at that point, and Nintendo was trying to do everything they could to not be the Atari 2600. Because the Atari 2600 crashed and burned so badly, and nobody wanted to even touch it. Everyone was like,
why they called it
video games.
An entertainment system and not and why in Japan they called it the family computer.
Right, yeah, because they were just doing everything they could.
Console. Yeah.
Yeah, so clearly, like, I have histories in my brain because that's what I've been working a lot on. But as far as games that we've been playing go, I've been in the middle playing Doom. I got it. My roommate got it for me. The new Doom 16. My roommate got it for me for the holidays, and it's funny. I picked up Final Fantasy 15 on my own the exact same day, and I didn't know he got me Doom. So then, since he got me Doom, I was like, well, because that'll be shorter than Final Fantasy 15, so I'll get Doom.
How are you liking it?
I love it. It's great.
And I presume you played the original, like, back in the day?
You know, actually, I never played the original.
Seriously?
Yeah, I played Doom 3. I never listened to my parents when I came to video games I wasn't allowed to play, except for Doom. That was the one game, for whatever reason, I actually listened, and they told me I wasn't allowed to play it, and I didn't.
Yeah,
but, like, I wasn't allowed to play Mortal Kombat, and I'd go over to friends' houses and play Mortal Kombat. But Doom was, like, the only game where they were just like, you cannot play it, and I was like, okay.
Aegon, not everyone is as old as you either. We weren't all adults when that thing came out.
Well, I was born in 86.
Yeah, I was born in 87, so you're only 1 year older.
I was born in 92.
Yeah. Wow.
I was actually born in January 1987, so I'm almost 86.
So you're 7 months older than me, or younger than me, rather.
Yes, I guess if your birthday's in July or around August.
Mine's in May.
You still sound like a 16-year-old boy.
I know. So that's why I could get all the anime VO roles.
Even playing the original Leisure Suit Larry, because it had like a quiz thing at the start. It was meant to. This was before the ESRB and everything, and so the quiz thing at the start was meant to, like ensure that you were old enough to play. And so what me and my siblings would do is we would just because it would be multiple choice questions, and so we would just guess and hope that we'd get, I think, three in a row right or whatever, so that we'd be able to play.
Yeah.
A game about basically trying to get laid when I was like 5 years old.
Yep.
I didn't understand what was happening, but it was like, wow, it's cool. Like
but it's a fun adventure game, yeah.
Well, and it was a text parser too. Like, it wasn't even so. In a way, it kind of taught me how to read and write and things like that, even though the content of the game wasn't necessarily appropriate.
Yeah, I never played Leisure Suit Larry, but I loved King's Quest.
King's Quest, yep.
I played Monkey Island when it was re-released to Xbox Live, but I didn't play it when it originally came out.
You guys make me feel like a kid.
I love the old adventure games, though. They're so good. But yeah, as far as games playing recently, though, Doom 16. I just finished Titanfall 2, and I'm playing Owlboy. I've been playing, and then I've been playing the game for my next. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard of my super shows, but I've been playing the next game for that series.
Final Fantasy 7 still good?
Well, and especially with how it handled, notions of brainhood and personhood, and how it doesn't assume like Fallout 4 does that, our personhood is derived from the thing inside of our skulls. It's much more complicated.
But did you notice that with Crisis Core, it actually had a similar theme with, like Cloud is like living out Zack's life?
Yeah.
It has a similar kind of thing leading into Genesis being who Sephiroth ends up taking up the role of, like, he ends up just taking over Genesis's life with the whole goal that he has and stuff.
Interesting. See, that's what it's related to what Dave was talking about earlier with the retcon stuff. Because I'm afraid to play Crisis Core because the story of FF7 for me is perfect and shouldn't be changed,
Okay, the thing is, though, Crisis Core isn't just a thing that they decided to make. It actually existed already as an anime. It was
existed in the same way that episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars existed?
No, what I mean is that years before the game came out, there was already a Crisis Core anime short.
I mean, the thing about Crisis Core, and I haven't played it yet, and I've been told I need to, is that everyone I've talked to who are huge FF7 fans like Crisis Core, and they're okay with the story in it. So
It
that makes me
doesn't
not
fuck
so
with
afraid.
Yeah, it doesn't fuck with the main line too much at all.
Whereas like Advent Children, I thought was stupid story-wise.
Yeah, I love
I
Advent
hated
Children,
both
but
of
it's
the
stupid.
Final Fantasy movies, man. Especially the
Okay,
first
hang
one
on.
is the biggest fucking disappointment in the world.
Okay, wait, hang on. Spirits Within would be an okay sci-fi film if it didn't have Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it wasn't Final Fantasy at all.
But
like it had
as
nothing.
a sci-fi film, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna
No,
say-
I can see that.
So,
But I've
yeah,
been playing a decent amount of, and by decent amount I mean not nearly enough, but of GTA 5, GTA Online specifically. Just having fun with the stunt races, because I hadn't played that game in a long time, and so coming back and seeing some of the stuff that they've added is pretty cool.
Have you been analyzing the lore?
No, because when I'm playing a game that I just want to relax, right? Like I'm not necessarily going to be playing Dark Souls just because. Yeah, well,
there's like no reason to even try with that.
Well, there is, because there's a lot that you could say about the way the world is designed and how it treats women and things like that. But many other people have already done that, and I unfortunately
it's not really looking into the lore. It's looking at the view of the world within the game. That's
reflected and reproduced by the game world itself. But
yeah, like it's kind of like it very well could be based off of the world we live in, but with differences in history, where like hypercapitalism exists to a much stronger degree and stuff. Like there's all these theories out there which are really cool, really interesting stuff. But I mean, I'm not enough of an expert on it because I just enjoy shooting people in the face with a shotgun and then running at the cops and punching them.
I enjoy driving around in cars that I could never afford to, have myself. And but yeah, and I've also been playing a fair bit of Darkest Dungeon. Still preparing to go to do the final Darkest Dungeon raid. But Dave, I wanted to ask you, as someone who lives in LA, what is playing GTA 5 like for you? Is it a trip, or like is it only like vaguely reminiscent of like actual places you've been?
It's more vaguely reminiscent. I mean, it's fun. That's actually the main reason I played GTA 5, because I'm actually not that big of a fan of the GTA series. But I specifically played it because I was like, oh, this will be awesome, that I can actually play and go and actually say fuck you to traffic for once. But that was like the big thing. But I mean, like, it's similar enough where it's like, what areas they're representing and what everything is. So I mean, it's definitely fun where I'm like, oh, cool. And like, I can pretty much know my way around where everything is. But it's more of a vague representation of like, okay, this is the hills, and this connects to the rich part of town. This connects to this part of town. What was really a trip for me that I liked a lot was LA Noire.
So that that was more accurate.
Yeah, because they really tried to do the exact streets. So like but it's more accurate and less because it also takes place like 60 years ago. So I mean, it's something where it was really cool because it was like, oh, this is what it must have been like 60 years ago, because they actually tried to do that. And all the streets that they're using are the same streets and connect in the same way. So the actual map is more accurate, whereas GTA 5 is similar, but it's not like the exact map. But it's very close. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's definitely like if you go to LA, you go to the areas and you'll be like, oh my god, it's this area. This is the same area, and it connects the same way.
Yeah.
But LA Noire is like interesting, just in the sense of like how accurate the streets were. Of like, this is the exact same street, and it connects to the exact same street.
And that was the game with like the hardcore facial animations and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that ruined the game.
Yeah.
Where they had all ruined the game.
Shit.
Yeah, the problem is that you can't get a realistic depiction of somebody telling the truth or lying when they're acting.
Oh yeah, because it just looks like they're just like.
Yeah, like it's almost impossible to tell the difference between a lie and just they're hiding something. And the problem is,
it just looks like this looks like they're constipated more.
Yeah, they can be holding something back, but it's not considered to be a lie by the game. So it's like, oh, fuck yourself, game. I hate you.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the game because I like the noir style of it, but it's definitely hard when you're doing the truth or lie thing and interrogating people for that reason, especially because it's an actor. And that's really what it is you're never going to get the real representation. Not so much because of the animation, but because you have an actor. And it's just
so
like
many different levels of subjectivity there where it's just impossible.
Right, it's like, what is what they chose to do as their tell?
They also only had like 2 female actresses in it, and you can tell because they reused the same face on about 5 different characters.
It's like when you're playing Skyrim and everyone sounds like one of the Greybeards.
Yeah.
Like every second NPC. Don't call them junk. These are treasures.
Really quick, before we continue, Bob the Hollow said that he's got to hop off, so I just wanted to tell him bye and thanks for coming out and hanging and talking with us, man.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, see you around. Thanks again. Yeah.
Take care.
Be sure to check Bob the Hollow out on YouTube. It's Bob the Hollow. Just
watch all his shit.
Type
give
it.
Thumbs up.
Okay, so something I did find interesting was posted by PocketLint60, and he's talking about the Soul Feeder that we learn about in the description of the Skull Ring from Ludleth, and it says one of Corlin's transposed wonders derived from the soul of a soul feeder. The soul feeder was a beast that insatiably absorbed souls to feed its own power. Even after its accursed corpse was burned, it's said that the pungent stench of souls left the air permanently stained. And basically what he says is, I'm gonna get this picture up, is that the soul feeder was Koth.
Bloodborne. What's that?
Okay, so this image of the depiction of the skull on the skull ring is really similar looking to the face of a primordial serpent. And then he talks about how when Frampt shows up in Firelink Shrine, there's the fact that we feed him all kinds of souls and shit. And
oh, that's funny. Yeah, I see the little mouth thing.
And then the fact that the Crestfallen warrior or knight, whatever, talks about how much Frampt fucking stinks. He's like, oh, that thing's... I don't remember exact words, but he does talk about it stinking. Which could be just like a...
As soon as he arrives.
Yeah. Could be a trait of, like, primordial serpents. They just fucking stink or whatever. And, I mean, this is, like... He put a really long post, so I'm just trying to, like, hit the...
Too long didn't read.
So here's... he put some bullet points up for a review. So he says... The Skull Ring is one of Corlin's transposed wonders, transformed from a beast called Soul Feeder. If Frampt is an indication, primordial serpents eat souls. The Skull Ring has a skull like primordial serpent on its face. From Ludleth's dialogue, the eyes show a world destitute of fire, a barren plain of endless darkness, a place born of betrayal, so I willed myself a lord to link the flame to paint a new vision. This implies one of two things: Ludleth's world and presumably Corlin were consumed by darkness, or the magical arts of Corlin allowed them to see the Age of Dark coming and prevent it. Ludleth has the Skull Ring. Koth is directly connected to the Dark Wraiths and the Sable Church, the two biggest dark-centric factions in the Soul series. And Kingslayer Frampt, another primordial serpent, was a proponent of linking the fire. Lothric, a kingdom obsessed with linking the fire, has statues commemorating a primordial serpent. Koth's name has been lost to time. Yuria knows Koth's name, and Koth is dead.
So I think, like some of this I found super fascinating, like the fact that Koth, well, at least we know Frampt, you know, it's 8 souls and all that. That I find especially interesting. The depiction on the ring is hard to tell. I mean, I think like it's interesting, but it's hard to say if that's like.
It's only vaguely reminiscent, in my opinion.
Right. But like the main thing that I disagree with is him saying the whole thing where Thurlin saw the Age of the Dark and all that, and that must have been a Thurlin thing, and those are the only 2 things that make sense. Because I totally disagree with that, because we see that like Ludleth in the game specifically knows about the events at the Untitled Graves. Where there kind of was an Age of Dark. So to me, he was there during that time. Because that's when the ages the lords probably seem to rise back up after linking the fire. And this has been my theory for a long time, and I still stick to it just because it makes the most sense to me. But like to me, it's like I think he relinked the fire a second time, and that's what created Firelink Shrine. Because he saw the Age of Dark, and I think it's referring to that. Because when you go to Untended Graves, he knows exactly that you were there and what you saw, and he references that very specifically. He's like, oh, I see you saw this area, and blah, blah, blah. So, like, to me, that's when he saw the Age of Dark and all that. So, I don't think that was a Thurlin correlation. I think that was a... Because there's also the fact that we find out he was forced to link the fire. He was forced into becoming a Lord of Cinder, at least the first time around. So I don't think that was his
forced
choice.
As much as he was just an unlikely lord. that he just sort of threw himself onto the fire.
I'm pretty sure the first time around there's an actual item description that says that he was unwilling or something to that extent to become a Lord of Cinder.
Well, there's a thing like where if you kill him and you come back, then he'll be like having a nightmare about linking the fire and saying how like it burns and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, there is that, but I mean, there's specifically something about becoming a Lord of Cinder in the first place that he was forced to. I think it's the Soul Feeder ring itself that says because he made the Soul Feeder ring, they're like, no, you're gonna be a Lord of Cinder. So, let me find it. Like, I want to make sure I'm not just spitting shit out, but I'm pretty sure that is the case.
My brain completely disconnected for a couple minutes. What I missed?
So the Skull Ring description reads, one of Corlin's transpose wonders, derived from the soul of a Soul Feeder. Easier to be detected by enemies. The Soul Feeder was a beast that insatiably absorbed souls to feed its own power. Even after its accursed corpse was burned, it is said that the pungent stench of souls left the air permanently stained.
So it's not there. So I'm just trying to find like where it is. Actually, I guess if I just look into my lore video descriptions.
Was it in his dialogue?
I'm finding it right now. I'm gonna find where it is because I have it in a video. So I know I have the quote somewhere.
Because he does tell the player character, that he willed himself Lord.
Yeah.
So the only unwillingness again, I could be wrong, but the only unwillingness dialogue or evidence that I found is the when you kill him and come back.
Okay, you know what it is? Here's what it was. Like, I'm wrong. Sort of. It's the fact that he doesn't have any legs, and it's like, why doesn't he have any legs? And it's like when you start trying to think about why doesn't he have any legs, and that's what makes it really interesting. Of like, well, why would that be? Was someone trying to even though he says he willingly did it, was someone trying to actually make him one and like kind of force him down into doing this, despite what he's saying to us.
The sequence of events, as I understand it, and I could just as easily be wrong, is that Gunder was late. He slept in, like he switched the AM PM on his alarm clock or whatever.
Yeah.
He slept in, and there was no one there to link the fire, so he did it because there was no one else.
Right.
And whether or not that created the Firelink Shrine that the player inhabits is, I think, an additional question. But but he may have been unwilling in the sense that he was never originally intended to be the one to link the fire, but he did it because there was no one else.
So I think there's two parts to it. I think he did become a Lord of Cinder in the traditional sense, and I think he gained all of his power and souls that would feed the fire because of the Soul Feeder ring, because of that ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what gave him the correct amount of souls to become a Lord of Cinder. So I think he did because he has a throne, and that had to be constructed at some point for him to have a throne of being a Lord of Cinder. And we know that Dark Souls 3 is all about Ludleth refusing to link the fire. So I think what happened then was, and this is again, these are
you mean Lothric?
Or sorry, yeah, Lothric, not Ludleth. They all have L names, okay?
Yeah.
So Lothric was all about Lothric refusing to link the fire. So I think then the safety catch is they bring back the lords a first time to link the fire again to help extend it, and they did that. And Aldrich was like, well, fuck that. I don't want to link the fire. And same with everybody. And then the Abyss Watchers were just too insane.
And then the backup to the backup plan was raise the...
Well, then you're right. It was for Gunder to come and just fucking hunt down them and bring them back. And Gunther was essentially supposed to do what you were supposed to do. But before he had a chance to do that, and here's where this is purely speculation, because it's all timeline shit and who knows. But I think before he had a chance to do that, Gunder used the Firekeeper, who was supposed to be the Firekeeper for Gunder, to link the fire, and he just panicked and was like, I see this shit, this is bad, I need to link the fire. So I think he did it in a panic or something when he shouldn't have done that. So then he already linked the fire again before Gunder had a chance. So then Gunder came back, and it was too late at that point because Ludleth had already fucked everything up. So...
Yeah.
That's my thoughts, and that's my theory is essentially it's Firelink Shrine is Ludleth's fault for better or worse, and Gunder was late because of Ludleth.
So another interesting possibility.
Although then, sorry, like I wanted to do one more thing before I forget. Then the other thing too is that we find now with the DLC that the bell that's supposed to awaken you, the Ashen, is in the fucking painted world.
And it's broken.
And it's broken. So like it also like adds to it where like it could also be that like maybe that's also part of what happened is that it could be Elfrida's fault or what's his name?
Ariandel?
The guy who's out front.
Wilhelm?
Like, because he also specifically like references the bell. And like I thought we got rid of the bell. What the fuck? You know, like that's one of his lines. So like it could be their fault. Like they could be a big part of it too for why that happened. So I think those are the two like factors. But anyways, yeah, go on with what you were gonna say.
But the Soul Feeder thing is, I think another possibility that would have to be considered is, you know, because in Dark Souls 3 we have the giant, what are they called? The crystal lizards who have grown into the guide actually has a name for them.
I think they are just called crystal lizards or something.
Aren't they just called like overgrown crystal lizards?
Yeah, or gorged crystal lizard or something like that. Like they fed on so many souls that they became enormous and they dropped Titanite scales. So there's already a precedent in the game for something from the previous games feeding on souls too much to become something else. So something else, and I'm literally just thinking of this now. So I'm sure someone else has thought of this and maybe debunked it already. But what if the Soul Feeder is the Agape ring from Dark Souls 2? That, you know, here's this ring that was, you know, after the 1.1 update or whenever it actually came in, everyone was like, oh my god, we got to use this, and it makes PvP like actually viable again at low levels.
It came in with Scholar of First Sin.
Did it? No, it was also on the 360. It was the version 1.1.
Yeah, that was the Scholar of First Sin edition update. What happened was they introduced Aldia, the
I know.
Other things. It was coincided with the Scholar of First Sin release.
Yeah. But on the 360, which is where I originally played it, it was just version 1.1, which added. It didn't add all of the Scholar of the First Sin things. So that's why
it added in the Aldia stuff.
It added all the and a couple of other things and the Agape ring as well. But just a random thought that maybe that ring is the Agape ring.
What does the Soul Feeder ring do exactly? Because I never use it.
It's basically there was a ring, the Red Eye ring from Dark Souls 2, which makes enemies aggro onto you more readily than they would.
Okay.
And it's an alluring skull that's supposed to be depicted on the ring itself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know. That's just a random idea, but
right. So that's what makes the that one theory from Reddit. It's kind of like it's questionable, but it's interesting specifically because like, oh yeah, that's something Fromp did was that he.
Yeah.
Ravenous Crystal Lizard. Thank you, Elmlight. That's what it's called. Sorry.
Although the thing with Fromp though is it's not that he was insatiably feeding on stuff for souls per se. He would give you souls for things that you would give him.
Yeah.
But there is something to point out though about the ring and the skulls, which is that the skulls, I believe it's in Dark Souls 1, the description about how the alluring skull, the reason that it draws them in is because it actually has like the essence of soul still in it. So when you throw it and it smashes, it's like leaving the souls which is drawing in these things towards it, which suggests, you know, all these creatures are technically soul feeders. Like everything is a soul feeder in the Dark Souls universe.
Yep.
The difference between like just a soul feeder and the soul feeder is that one of them is way better at it.
Yeah, it's definitely the Gower's ring. Yeah. Someone's saying in the chat that there's another ring. That it does look a lot like when you're wearing the Gower's ring. There's that like little person sort of hanging on to your neck
with no lower legs.
What? Really?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, he's.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's very interesting.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Actually, I should probably get headed. I'm looking at the time.
What happened to your face on camera?
I gotta go.
It was a pleasure talking to you. First and second, make sure you talk about Wonder Boy 3 if you're doing a Master System video.
Wonder Boy 3, best Wonder Boy.
Best game on the Master System. Everyone talks about Alex Kidd as being the Mario of the Master System, but no.
No, Wonder Boy's way better.
Wonder Boy 2, which is Wonder Boy and well, hold on a second.
Isn't Wonder Boy 3 just a sequel to Alex the Kid?
No.
I haven't played any Master System games, so actually I guess I played one on my Sega Genesis, but I actually just looked up a video of Wonder Boy 3.
Just because Master System is my jam, and I always get upset whenever people cover it without talking about these two games. So this is Wonder Boy in Monsterland, which is technically Wonder Boy 2, which is the sequel technically to a game that was on the NES, Adventure Island, which was actually
Wonder Boy. I love the original one.
And then
I actually have played that game.
And these are completely different though than the first one, because the first one's like an infinite runner kind of, sort of, right?
Well, it's like Adventure Island.
But then these ones are basically like, especially this one, Wonder Boy 3, is basically a Metroidvania before Metroidvania was even a thing. And yeah, easily, like I go back and I play this like once every 6 months or so, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
so,
I'm watching a video on it right now on YouTube. Yeah, actually,
make sure.
There's a book that I got. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Let me find it just so I can like link it to people if they're interested. That I finished reading. That was all interviews with developers about who worked on Sega Master System and Sega Genesis games. Mm-hmm. And they were interviewing some of the developers on Wonder Boy. So I read a bunch of it. That's actually where I learned.
Westone or West One?
What's that?
The company is, it's weird. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's either Westone or West One, or Westone.
Westoned?
Westoned, yeah.
It would explain some of the fucking games that came out back then.
And it's amazing back then, all it says is Sega. Like, doesn't even say who developed it on the cartridge or the thing itself, which is, yeah, fantastic. Oh, sorry, Dave, I interrupted you. Go on.
No, it's all good. No, I was just saying, like, that Wonder Boy, the original, I actually played at an arcade when I was a kid after playing Adventure Island.
Oh yeah, that's right.
These had NES, but yeah, I played the original at an arcade, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, this game is incredible.
Yeah, was that
and
the
then
one
I got it from my Game Gear.
And he could get a skateboard.
Yeah.
And you're collecting fruits, and you're wearing like an Adam and Eve type.
Yeah. So I got it from my Game Gear. And I got it from my Game Gear. I loved it. And I always just figured it was a ripoff of Adventure Island because I played that first on the NES. And then when I was reading this book that I just linked to everybody on Skype and on Discord, or not Skype, on Discord and on the chat.
Oh, that's a cool looking cover.
When I was reading this book with all the interviews from the developers, I found out that Wonder Boy was the first game, and because NES had their licensing restrictions, they themselves made a spin-off of it called Adventure Island. It's by a part of the same team. Well, it's another part of the same team worked on Wonder Boy 2.
Well, and Wonder Boy 2 has like almost nothing to do with Wonder Boy 1. That's the amazing part. Like the Wonder Boy 2 and then Wonder Boy 3 basically starts precisely where Wonder Boy 2 left off, and that is, even though it's called Wonder Boy in Monsterland, it's actually Wonder Boy 2. I think the card even says something. Oh no, the card actually is correct, but yeah, they're completely different. They're like action RPGs where you have to actually buy things. Part 3 is definitely way better than Part 2, but Part 2 is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I'll have to like somehow try to play Wonder Boy 2 and 3 because I mean I know that they're totally different than the original, but I love the original, so obviously I'm a fan of the developer, so I should definitely
even if you're just using an emulator, at least try the third one, because like the prologue, the way it starts off, like it really, you appreciate how much they did in terms of telling a very basic narrative, but how much they did given the limitations of the time, I thought was just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see.
Sorry, I was just gonna say thanks for linking this book because that looks really interesting. I might grab that. I especially like the cover.
Yeah, it's a great read. I mean, it's got a lot of references. I mean, it's mainly interviews. So like they have a brief history section at the beginning of the book, and then at the end it's like all interviews. It's both the Master System and Genesis. But yeah, it's a good book. I recommend it for sure. And it's got like different like pictures of system specs and stuff, which are interesting to look at, and some dev docs on some games that you can look at and be like, oh cool, this was the original design they were thinking of doing. But yeah, I don't know.
I look forward to seeing your video though.
Yeah, my videos tend to talk a little bit more about the business aspect of like, here's this, like the history of like, here's how it came out, here's like what they had to do to get it out and to get it marketed. But I do go into the games a bit. Like the NES had a whole section on the games of like here were the big games that like made a huge difference in the game, like gaming, like Metroid, obviously like Wonder Boy 3 copied Metroid, but everything did. I'm not saying this is a bad thing.
Well, I think Metroid actually came out first. But I mean, before the phrase Metroidvania.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. It was before Metroidvania was a phrase. I mean, Castlevania 2 copied Metroid before that was a phrase, and then Symphony of the Night was what made it Metroidvania phrase.
Yeah. Which is really, it should really just be called Metroid now that I think about it. But
yeah, it should, which is funny. But it's just because Symphony of the Night was so popular. But I mean, like, it's a good design. I love that design. So I mean, like, anyways, obviously Wonder Boy 1 was important because Adventure Island was copied from it. It was a big franchise for the Master System, so it probably is important. So, like Phantasy Star is probably one I should talk about. And then also Alex Kidd I have to talk about, but
for sure.
But Alex, yeah, like I'll definitely look into Wonder Boy more.
Golden Axe runs at like 5 frames per second on the Master System. I also have.
Isn't that the best amount? I mean, 5 frames is more than enough to play a game.
Oh well, but when it was fine back in the day when I knew no other alternative. But when I played Golden Axe on the Genesis, I was like, holy shit!
You think that's bad? Game. Last year, I was playing Smite on my laptop at 10 FPS.
I don't even know what that is.
Smite is a third-person MOBA game where you play as gods from different pantheons.
Well, you shouldn't.
And that was at the lowest settings.
10 FPS.
Yeah, 10 FPS because my laptop is shit. So now I've got a proper computer.
But yeah, man, like I'll definitely talk about it. I think the Master System is pretty interesting overall, just because I didn't even know until I started doing all these history book videos that Master System was the one that sold well in Europe. You know, I didn't even know that. I was like, oh shit, I had no idea. I mean, there are some countries that NES did better in, but only a couple in Europe, whereas primarily was dominated by the Master System and Commodore 64.
And like a bunch of other cheap microcomputers from the UK.
But the thing is, like, in Europe, like the things like Spectrum and stuff like that, like the actual computerized computer gaming things, where it's like you could do more than just play video games on them. They were real popular because a lot of the developers were actually working on those kind of things.
And they were also like big time sponsored by the UK government, right?
Yeah, there was a thing with like education and stuff where pretty much every school was actually getting computers at that time of these types. So, you know, it was super easy. Plus, I mean, the stuff was on just an old cassette tape with a lot of them. Like cassette tapes as a video game media is weird, but it worked and it was actually super cheap.
One of the very small handful of things that Margaret Thatcher did well, I think. But
you can turn into a dragon.
Wait, Margaret Thatcher can turn into a dragon?
No. So Wonder Boy 3. So basically the way it works, you start the game as a human, you know, or if you pause the game, it actually says human, and then after the boss or after you kill the boss, you become cursed. So the game's called Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap or The Dragon's Curse. The TurboGrafx 16 version was called Dragon's Curse. And then basically for the rest of the game, each dungeon you defeat, you move to the next transformation. So you start dragon, and then mouse, and then piranha, and then hawk, and then you go to the final dungeon and fight the you're trying to get back to Salamander Cross. Once you get back to Salamander Cross, you transform back into human, and then the game ends.
Yeah, this game looks great.
So depending on your form, like you're able to access different areas. Like it is an amazing game. Yeah, it still stands up today, with the sole exception of there are secret doors where you get merchants, and you require a certain number of charm points in order to get that. But there are websites online where you can, like the password save, you can actually just change a couple digits on the password to give you max charm points, so you don't have to worry about the whole, you know, having to buy things stuff aspect of the game.
Yeah. Well, I definitely have to check it out. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hello, Mitch.
It certainly is.
That's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. It was nice.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Lovely meeting you, Dave.
And yeah, I have a great rest of your stream. And for anyone who hasn't donated to charity, I'm gonna shame you into donating for the charity as well. That'll be my last act before I leave.
Thanks, Dave. Take care, man.
Take care, dude.
I'll see you guys.
Later, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So.
Oh, Mitch is here?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh shit!
What's going on, man?
Alien.
Can you guys hear me all right?
The youngin.
Oh,
yeah, we can
yes,
hear you.
sir.
Sorry, I can hardly hear you. There's an Australian in my ear.
I might be coming in upside down, possibly.
Mitch and I are gonna be. I'm gonna be stealing Mitch. We're gonna be going off here to record a Let's Talk Lore episode in a little bit.
Yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
What are we doing, Aegon? By the way, what?
Second half of the Crucifixion Woods.
Ah, okay, very good.
So,
very good. Sounds good.
I'll send you a link later, but I basically have like an hour and 20-minute video, and then we'll just, if there's anything we want to stop and talk about, we'll just, do that.
Awesome.
Basically, we'll be
Sounds
doing
good.
post commentary over that video.
Nice. Looking forward to it. About time we got around to that, huh?
Hang on.
First
Have you decided to play Let It Die yet?
I don't know what Let It Die is, so no.
It's
It's
free
like
to play
goofy
game on
Dark Souls.
PS4. Yeah.
Oh, I don't play free to play games.
No. It's free to play model actually seems pretty well made, where it's not requiring any microtransactions whatsoever.
If it's free to play, it definitely requires or at least the game is designed not around the gameplay, but around extracting as much money from people as
No,
as
if
possible.
Only I
I'm
could
telling
be
you,
so
from everything I've seen, it actually
grossly
looks like
incandescent.
it's really fair and set up in a way that you don't have to make any microtransactions. It's done by Grasshopper Studios.
I also don't know who they are. So.
The guys who worked on it are the kind of guys behind things like Lollipop Chainsaw. I can never remember the name of the one that's a take. It's a massive rip-off of Twin Peaks.
It's from what I've seen of
I'm
Let It
sure-
Die,
I'm sure it's a
it just
fun
seems
game,
really
but-
goofy. It just seems
I'm sure it's a
really
f-
goofy.
Yeah, and I'm sure
I'm
it's
just saying you should give it a shot.
Hello Akuma, and Wild Squirrel says a free-to-play knockoff of Souls. I've heard mixed things, but it looks just like subpar Souls.
No,
Yeah.
it's a different kind of game. It's more of the... It seems like Dark Souls, but with more emphasis on like a hack and slash style gameplay, like a more old school PS2 hack and slash kind of game, mixed with Dark Souls.
Yeah. The problem is I don't have enough time to play the games I'm currently playing as it is. So
Make more
Same.
time.
I'm struggling as it is with time at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh
but
god.
Mitch, you've got all this time that you're wasting trying to be a vaddie. Get out of here.
I have all the time I'm wasting at work. I'm at work like, I don't know, 60 hours a week, and
Hey,
then I have to fit in a video in there somewhere as well.
Mitch,
Yeah,
I love you.
I love you too, man. But it's tough.
I know.
Yeah. Like I've got like a script. It's completely done. I've recorded half of it, and then I just like need to do the rest of it, and then it'll be good. But I'm already like past a week due, which is annoying because I want to keep
it's alright.
weekly things going.
I'm 3 months past due on a book chapter I was supposed to write. And I'm sitting here instead of writing that, so
Yeah, Belka did.
I still need a PS3 so that I can play Demon Souls.
I've got a PS3 with Demon Souls
Yeah.
on it. Would you
Yeah,
like me to
I
fit
bought
a really
I bought
hardcore
one
step
not
in
too
it?
long ago.
Someone offered to ship me one, but they were like, "Yeah, I'm in the UK and it's PAL anyway." So I was like, "Well, I appreciate it, but yeah, don't worry about it."
Demon Souls is decent. I need to get
But that
back
is
into
still
it.
something I want to do.
Yeah, I got kind of discouraged because I ran through this really kind of long kind of labyrinth of like these mine tunnels and found this boss and then realized I had didn't get the weapon to fight it properly. So I'm doing like 1 damage against it. I'm like, oh fuck, I need to take a break. So I just switch it back to Red Dead Redemption.
The
Just-
Flame Lurker?
That's the one, yeah.
That's an easy
Oh,
boss.
Yeah, it's easy, but the weapon I had was doing like 1 to 2 damage on it. So it was just I don't know.
Yeah, see,
I
I've
missed
never
something.
played the game, and so I don't even know what I would call that playthrough, because like I still know so much about the game even though I've never played it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's very like satisfying combat. I don't know what it is. It's different from Dark Souls. It's got more like oomph to it.
The parries are way too easy.
Oh, I
you
haven't
got-
even tried to do
The
parrying.
parry window on just a normal shield, not like a tiny buckler or anything, is so big that, you know, the way in Dark Souls 3 you start doing a parry, and if you get a partial, you hear the clanking noise, but you still take like pretty much all the damage. In
Yeah.
Demon Souls, if you get a partial parry, it still registers as a full parry. You get hurt, like you take damage, but you can still riposte them. It's really
Yeah,
dope.
I gotta try it out again. I gotta persevere with it because it is good. Like it's got a real good kind of feel to it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I just if I spent less time playing Bloodborne, I'd probably be able to. I just still I cannot stop. Like it's just too good.
Yeah, just send me your PS4 and I'll play Bloodborne and you can play that game instead.
I'm gonna send you like a PS4 with everything you need to plug it in with your power supply and everything, but inside the Bloodborne case I'll put like Power Rangers Season 2 or something.
Dude, I watched the shit out of that. Don't even Power Rangers is my jam.
I'm running malware bites at the moment, so thank you for that suggestion. It's currently 53 threats identified, so we're going good.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I thought that link was clean. That link was clean.
Dude, malware bites. So Aegon.
Sup?
Let's discuss Astora. Now I'm obviously going insane slowly working on this video that I should have had out by now, but I keep deleting the stuff accidentally by shutting off my computer.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm a big fan of the idea that Lothric is part of Astora.
Okay.
I mean, I have some stuff to support it, but, you know, I was looking at the armor sets and stuff, and I'm trying to decode the images that are on the surcoats that they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I then realized the Lothric Knight Shield, even though it's not referred to as one of the crest shields, it looks very like it's a derivative of the crest shields, the blue shields from Astora.
Okay. Aren't those large shields? No, they are medium shields. You're right. Okay.
They're medium shields.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of crest shields. They're not all actually blue, even though they are referred to as blue shields.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks to me like it's definitely derived from it. They might not be one of the original blue shield designs, but they look very much like they were designed with the original crest shields in mind.
So, okay, but is there any other evidence beyond that? Just because it seems to me like in much of the game, the things the characters are doing are meant to live up to a legacy of some sort, whether or not the people involved actually understand what that means.
Well, I mean, thematically, you look at Lothric Castle, and the closest thing we can associate that to from Dark Souls 1 is Anor Londo.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I mean, there's that. But if you look at the coloring, right now, I've been a big fan of the whole thing of blue being associated with Astora because, I mean, the
Elite Knight said the crest shields,
even the scabbard for the Astora straight sword is actually a faded blue.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like
cool.
It looks like it was blue, but because it's
I never noticed that before.
Yeah, it's kind of grey looking now, but if you look real close at it, you can see it's kind of bluish hints to itself.
I would buy that, yeah.
The Way of the Blue and the Blue Sentinels, I also believe, were created in Astora. I believe the Way of the Blue is a derivative of the Queen's Guard / Way of White, because I think Guinevere and Flan left to head out to, and when they left, they set up in Astora, and they're probably the ones who created what became Lothric. It was kind of where the palace was. It's essentially the capital of Astora, where the queen and king would have lived in the royal family.
Okay.
Wait, if Guinevere and Flan founded Lothric, then how does Osiris fit into that?
Because they're much further down the line. Like I'm talking about, like at least 2 generations down the line.
So she was married to one king, and then she married.
No.
Remarried?
It's the descendants of Guinevere. So it would have been like Guinevere's daughter married Osiris.
So the Queen of Lothric is a descendant of Guinevere.
Yeah, I don't believe it's her herself. I think
to be fair, it doesn't ever explicitly say it's her. It says
it's possible that the daughter of Guinevere, the descendant of Guinevere, would also be considered a queen of, what is it, bounty and fertility.
Fertility.
Right?
Yeah,
and then in the Japanese translation of that item description, the one you're referring to, Aegon, is it actually states it more like they first appeared as a goddess of fertility and bounty, or like held like a facade of fertility and bounty, but then it was like washed away or something like that, like it's temporary.
Okay, interesting.
And like I put more credence into that than like when people try to take the translation from English Bloodborne to Japanese Bloodborne, because I'm pretty sure Bloodborne was mostly written in English, while Dark Souls is the other way around. But I could be wrong about that.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
Oh, really?
There is something to support, though, my claim that it's a descendant of Guinevere and not Guinevere herself, which is we look at Gwyn. He was known for lightning. He was the god of the sunlight who could throw lightning bolts. And then you look at the Nameless King, and he was the one who inherited the lightning bolts. Now, why wouldn't it be that Guinevere's daughter could inherit her title and
like the heir to the
I could see that.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like it's
the
not
heir of fertility.
There's I don't know, Lothric's still just a really kind of interesting concept, like, because you got to think, you know, if linking the fire was a rite of passage, you know, how many generations have been upholding that tradition in the interim between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3.
But you even look at Dark Souls 1, and it's a guy it's in fact two people from Astora are on quests which revolve around either linking the fire or finding their own son.
Yeah. I wonder how the name would have changed, but oh well.
It's not necessarily a change in name. It's a region within a country. It's a section of the country, which is like, you know, the holy capital kind of thing. Like, this is where the royals are, and the royals are seen as divine.
What's interesting? Sorry, go on, Mitch. You go on.
I was just going to quickly say that it's interesting that Anri would describe herself from being from Astora and not Lothric, unless they got convoluted along the way.
Well, no, this is my point, that she would not be from Lothric itself. She is from Astora, one of the like just normal parts of the land. And we know there was kind of a civil war that happened in Lothric. We also know that Astora is referred to as a ruined land, and I think a land which is entwined in civil war between two kind of different beliefs as to what the future should be, would end up being seen as a ruined land. I mean, you look at the high wall of Lothric and Lothric Castle and all this, I would not see those places as flourishing right now. They look pretty fucked to me.
No, yeah. Well, one thing, like, I know everybody wants a Londor DLC, but honestly, I wouldn't mind if they had, like, you know, similar to the Memories of the Giants that they had in Dark Souls 2, but for, like, each main boss in Dark Souls 3. So you go into the memory of Osiris, and you see like the Winged Knights fighting the Lothric Knights, and then you go into the memory of Walnir, and
so more similar to the memory of the old Iron King then.
Yeah. Well, I think that'd be
really cool. That would be really cool.
Then you see these people before everything went wrong. You'd see Lothric when it was still in decent shape.
But we never get to see that. We never get to see that.
Well, exactly. Yeah. That's the whole. Yeah, that's the whole.
There is also something else, which is there are three different types of knights. There's the Winged Knights, the Cathedral Knights, and the Lothric Knights are all seen in places that correlate to Lothric. The Winged Knights are exclusively blue. The Cathedral Knights, I believe, are exclusively blue, but the Lothric Knights you see in both red and blue.
The Cathedral Knight armor is like red-ish.
Yeah.
Like clay-ish.
No, I'm talking about the ones outside Osiris.
Yeah, those ones are blue, but there are also kind of like...
Yeah, there are also the ones in the Cathedral of the Deep as well.
Okay, because I always forget about like what colors they are. I just assume that they're... so that actually helps the point even further, that there would be two different factions of them. And I think the red ones are the knights that... Well, I think it kind of rank, but it's like the red ones are the royal ones, and the blue ones are more along the lines of the religion.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to think, like, during this whole Civil War, there would have been so many different separatists, you know? Yeah. Like, there would have been ones that were loyal to Prince Lothric, there would have been ones loyal to Osiris. Like, I don't remember, maybe it was you, Leo, or maybe, I don't remember who exactly put it forward, but... the idea that Prince Lothric was the one hiring assassins from the east to take out Osiris, but then it could have been like Gertrude doing that as well, or just like a neighboring kingdom just trying to kind of usurp the control, because that's another kind of angle that I find really interesting.
I don't know if there's any evidence to suggest that the assassin is from anywhere in particular in the game.
They wear the Eastern kind of assassin set. Yeah, kind of accompany Shiva, this unnamed eastern kind of
Yeah.
oriental land, but
But
there's
also
But I
no.
don't know if Lothric would be the one who would.
Well, I
would have said
wasn't
that.
the one to make.
Oh,
I
okay,
wasn't the one
yeah.
who said that.
That was
I don't know
that
who
was something I
said
heard
that.
from someone else.
No, I don't know who said that, but it is an interesting idea about, because it doesn't matter if they're, even if they are from the east, the idea of getting people from outside of your own region to deal with the problem is kind of a big deal.
Mm.
So I'm gonna go double check the colors on the Cathedral Knights because I'm very intrigued by this possibility.
Yeah.
Cathedral.
I don't think we can get the blue version of the armor, by the way. I'm pretty sure we can only get the clay kind of colored.
Yeah.
The reddish clay.
But this is the thing, right? There's also something else to notice, which is the first time you meet one of the winged knights, all of the he's wearing the blue cloth on him. All of those Lothric knights are the red versions. There's not a single blue one there.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning is the that they cast protective miracles and things that were kind of taught to them by Emma.
Yeah.
Which is another kind of interest. So maybe they were her
Member of the Way of the
guard
Blue?
for a while, and
No,
exactly.
Not personal. She's a member of the Way of the Blue, and they would be Blue Sentinels.
Well, right, yeah. So that would still protect her, I imagine.
Yeah, but this is why I think the Knights in Blue are part of the religion, kind of, because I believe the Way of the Blue is just overarching. It's like the Way of White. It's just a religion. But the Blue Sentinels are the knights of that religion, like how the Queen's Guard were the knights to Guinevere. It kind of expanded when she left Anor Londo. That she didn't believe what was going on in Anor Londo was right, and she expanded her guard not just to protect her, but to protect her people.
Yeah, right.
I would buy that.
I think we actually, in terms of hierarchy and rank, we get actually a really good presentation of that in the short run up to Prince Lothric's boss room, just from the bottom of those stairs. You know what I'm talking about? Like you start with, and you got the really kind of low rank, and by the time you get up to the top, you got like the Royal Guard, which wear blue or purple.
I'm pretty sure they're all wearing blue. Everyone
is
blue,
blue, I think.
It's the highest
when I made
concentration of Blue Knights.
When I made my Lothric video, like way back when, I said they're wearing purple, but that's just because of the sweet FX like filter that I had installed on my games. Just like, oh, they're wearing purple. That means like purple's like royalty. That's like a total reference to that. I was like, everyone was like, I think your contrasts of the colors is just wrong on your screen. And I was like, oh, right.
Oh man,
still learning.
See, I've been driving myself insane with this whole Lothric Astora thing for a few months now.
Yeah.
Well, hurry up and finish that video, man.
Dude, I would have had it done by now, but like 4 times I've lost all the research I had. I'm an idiot
Google
who doesn't
Drive.
use
Dropbox, man.
Google
Use
Drive.
Dropbox for your stuff.
I don't know how to technology.
Use pen and paper. That's what I did.
Yeah, use
Dude,
pen and
my
paper like a real law guy.
My handwriting is trash. I can't even read it half the time.
I can't read mine half the time either. Why do you think my theories turn out so fucking crazy?
Because you talk to me, and I just encourage you.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
Leo's
because of
literally
me.
Leo is Carth in Jake's ear.
Yeah, I'm the one. It's because of me that we were making the jokes about Velka having the dark soul and being the further pygmy, and then it was also because of a joke I made when you were like wrapping that up that almost drove you to the point of insanity that she's the Witch of Isleth, and then you started running on that one. So I'm a bad influence.
Okay, so the Cathedral Knight guarding the entrance to the Consumed King's King's Garden.
Blue,
it's like
right?
dark blue. It's
Yeah.
like dark blue. So I'm gonna go see the one standing in front of the fog gate, see if those two are different. But I'm pretty sure those are also dark blue.
They're
Yeah.
dark blue, so all the ones in that area are dark blue.
And then we also find them in the Cathedral of the Deep.
They're the reddish ones, I think.
So
outside
I'm
the
gonna, I
beacons.
gotta double check that. I think they might. Are you sure they're not also just blue?
I'm thinking that they're blue.
Really? I recall, like, I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't played Dark Souls 3 in a little while now, but I thought that they were
Sorry.
that reddish color.
Well, but this is the thing, right? You look at the color that the Lothric Knights have, and I think that the red Lothric color is in reference to the royal bloodline, and that's the color for them. And the reason that all the ones that are on the way up to the Lothric and Lorien boss fight are wearing blue is because they actually sided not with the royal family's decree of wanting to link the fire, but with the church's decree of not wanting to link the fire.
Huh. You know, it's
That's where I think
curious.
the split came in. Yeah.
Or at least according to the wikis, the ones in the Consume King's Garden are actually called Consume King Knights, and the other ones are called Knights of the Deep.
Well,
Is that
but
is that the name that the wiki has?
That's not the
That's
guide.
anyone could put that.
Yeah,
name.
Look at the
Yeah.
guide. The wiki just like Fextra Life just makes names up.
Yeah,
No, Fextra Life is a good place to. It's one of the better wikis to go to.
it's not bad,
Well-
but like you want to
Grain of
do you put much kind of validity future press guides, Aegon?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Because I stepped away for a sec.
Sorry, you know the future press guides, I think they're called.
Yes.
Do you put
Yes.
much kind of weight in those ones?
More than I do in the Prima guide, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
well, because we know that two of the authors of that guide are people who understand how important it is to be very specific with the words you use to describe things, and not to sort of insert things where they might not be, and vice versa. But whereas with the Prima guide, instead, like it's so lacking in specificity in some parts, or it just refers to all NPC enemies or just NPCs that are like player characters, but not player characters. They just call them all unkindled.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
be more specific than that.
The
Okay, in the Cathedral of the Deep, they're just called.
the guide says Consumed or Knight of the Deep and Consume King's Knight.
Yeah, it just says Knight of the Deep, which is weird because
oh god,
we know that they are.
We got
that
the same book.
are King Lothric's, right?
Yeah.
So the description says Knights of the. But see, this is the other thing that annoys me. All these write-ups where it's just like it has nothing about lore. Knights of the Deep aren't always as defensive as other Knights of the Deep, but they know how to lay on the damage. Some of these have single-handed weaponry. These knights fight more like what you're used to from the early game. Use extended combos to knock aside their shields, and then get real damage in while they're briefly stunned. The two-handed Knights of the Deep are damage dealers. Don't trade with them because you are going to regret it. Briefly. What? A nice trick against all Knights of the Deeps. Knight against all Knight of the Deeps is to back off and bait their spells. They'll buff them. See what I mean? Like,
Wait, what color?
I'm not even gonna finish reading that.
What color are the
Knight
ones
of the Deeps
in the rafters of the cathedral? Are they a different color than the ones in the lower part of the cathedral?
Pretty sure they're also blue. I'm pretty sure they're all blue.
Yeah. Actually, I think you're right. The
Yeah, I
ones
think
with
they're all
the ones with the ones with the maces, I remember specifically being blue. Just
So
'cause
those are
for
the
some
deep
reason.
ones, and then the Consume King Knight. Consume King's Knights are tough. They have the usual knight fighting style, but their stats are high, and you don't get much room to maneuver when you're
Who
fighting.
writes this?
People are bad at Dark Souls.
The area's poisonous ground is bad enough, but there are also Pus of Man and other targets that you can back into while engaging in combat. Bait the Consume King's Knights from range to get them cast. So it's the same stuff basically.
Yeah.
And who like I don't think it's necessarily the fault of the person who's writing it, mostly because I presume that they had much less time and they weren't paid nearly as well as the future press people were.
It also sounds like they're padding with the writing as well to make it as much words.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Of course.
To fill in these like predetermined blocks of space.
Well, we need to get this book that's only 10 pages long a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's that much padding, but
Dude, Dark Souls 3 to finish the game is the shortest core game out of all three Dark Souls games.
Dark
And
Souls 3?
Bloodborne's even shorter.
Yeah. The core game of Dark Souls 3 is shorter than Dark Souls 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably agree with that.
It's hard to say.
Well, if Dark Souls 1 allowed you to warp between bonfires freely like 2 and 3 does, it would probably be the shortest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
impossible because, like, Dark Souls 1 was my first game, so obviously it took me forever to finish it. But
Yeah, but
it was my first Souls game.
You've got to remember, for like more than half that game, you're traversing everywhere by foot. You're not teleporting around. So, and even when you can teleport, it's only to certain bonfires. So it does extend the length of gameplay. So,
Okay, where did I need to check still? The Cathedral of the Deep. That's right.
the rafters in the Cathedral of the Deep as well.
Have I seriously not killed the deacons on this character? Okay.
Because I think I read somewhere that the ones in blue are specifically meant to be guarding royalty. Which if they're
Pretty
blue
sure
in
they're
the
all blue,
rafters... are they all? I thought the ones in the lower parts of the cathedral were red, right?
Well, that's what I'm gonna go check now.
I'm pretty sure they're blue as well.
I thought the red ones were in the just outside the deacon boss room, but is that wrong? Am I wrong about that?
Well, I'm going to check right now, so we shall see. Right. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that they're all blue.
That's weird. Real quick, which one's bad? A tornado watch or a tornado warning? Which one's the bad
warning?
one?
Tornado warning is a bad one.
Okay, because I got a watch.
Oh shit!
Well, I mean,
really?
look out. Keep your window open. Keep your eyes out. If a cow comes flying through your window, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give Jodie Foster a call. She'll take care of
She'll
business.
work it out. She'll work it out.
She'll work it out.
Her and was it Matthew McConaughey? No, that was Contact. Who was in Twister? Was it even Jodie Foster?
God, no, I don't think Jodie Foster was in Twister.
Am I just making that up? It was a blonde woman. I remember that.
Wasn't it, like,
There's a lot of blonde women in Hollywood.
That's true.
It's been a while since I've seen Twister. For some reason, I think that
I could just be making that up. I like to do that.
God.
Just hearing Twister makes me depressed because I'm just like, oh god, that film came out so long ago. I'm old.
All right, here's something fun. Like if
Helen
there
something,
was-
Helen Mirren.
Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt, maybe.
My
Was it
friend
Helen Hunt?
Trace, yes, my friend Steve, who is currently watching the stream, messaged me on Skype just to tell me it's Helen Hunt.
Okay, so
Thank you for the clarification.
So if they did make, just hypothetically, a Dark Souls movie, okay,
Never.
I'll put
Tom
this.
Cruise is the main character.
Yeah, no, but like, what would the story be, and who would play the different characters, and who would direct?
It would be. This
Tom
is a
Cruise
movie
main
that
character.
has nothing to do with Souls, a game that couldn't in a million years be made into a movie in a way that made sense. So.
Wait.
Sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but
Wait.
pre Dark Souls 1.
You have it set in the age of lore.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool.
The war
Yeah,
with
the Advent of Fire,
dragons,
I think would be cool.
And you have completely non-canonical relationships happening between the different lords.
I think the only way that could work would be if oh wait, no, so they're not completely red or completely blue, but parts of it, it's not even red, it's like a brownish color.
Huh.
Yeah,
no, it's definitely a different color. So Mitch was right. Mitch was 100% right.
Well, an Australian was right for once.
And
I'll become a national hero.
This is the guy who's in front of the obelisk that's sort of sinking into the deep. So right in front of the boss room. And so in which case it would be the ones both up in the rafters and the ones in front of the boss room. Although he just got parried like a little
I reckon he also should done any of the voice acting in the series at that point.
So since we were just talking about the deep, I want to show you guys something. You may have already seen it in game, but I've explored it like 2 or 3 times on my lore streams. And that is, let me link a picture of I didn't actually take a screenshot for some reason, so I just have a clip from my stream. When it's talking about the deep, in the Deacons of the Deep, if you let it go on long enough, they actually summon the deep, and if you look at it, it actually looks like you're underwater, looking up at, like if you were to look at the sun or like the sky from underwater. That's how it looks. Let me put it in the stream as well.
No, I didn't even know.
I have a video showing that as well.
Oh, do you? Hell yeah.
Are you just putting it in? Alright.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the way that the dregs they're firing, they don't just shoot up. It looks like they kind of float up.
Can't believe I've never seen that before.
In the clouds and stuff. Like, I urge you to go in with, like, free cam on or something and just, like, turn your iframes on and just, like, sit there and watch. It comes leaking out of Aldrich's coffin and... Yeah,
wow.
The way
That's
the
cool.
clouds are moving and shit.
Yeah, you need to beat the first phase of the boss first, though.
Yeah, beat the first phase. To win the actual...
Gotta get the Pope out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get...
out on the floor.
Yeah, you gotta get Pope Chaos out.
Pope Chaos.
Pope Chaos.
Skelly. Yeah.
There's 2 Jakes.
Have
Although he's not as good as Vape Lord Walner.
Do you guys know if because they normally do like a design works book for each of the games, have they released one for Dark Souls 3 yet?
Awesome.
Or no?
I
kind of look.
so.
I don't think so, because normally they're kind of like big books, and I'd love to get it. I'd like to actually get all of them and just have like it, because I've seen some of the PDFs, like the ebooks, but then just not good quality. I'd really love to get my hands on some of those.
Here, Jake, I'll put it in the chat. I put it in the Discord thing. This is the first 3 minutes and 14 seconds of that video. You can actually see the process. Where I basically, I got it to the second phase, and then I just sort of ran around and looked up, and you can see, it's weird. It's like it starts sort of floating out of nowhere, like in a similar pattern to the chains in the boss room, and then you can see it's sort of starting to pour out of the coffin.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So you can put that on the stream if you know how to do that.
And as that guy pointed out earlier with that picture, that coffin in the real world, the thing that seems to be based off of is where Jesus appropriately goes. Dark Souls.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this to you because it gave me a really big laugh earlier. I'm not gonna say the guy who posted this because I don't want anyone to think I'm putting him on blast or anything. But when I thought all the talk of Solaire was gone, we were gonna stop talking about him, Gwyn, all this, I see this title on Reddit from a while ago. It says Solaire is a demigod. So naturally I opened it. It piqued my curiosity. This is what it says. I keep seeing lore posts disregarding Solaire as Gwyn's son. I get that Dark Souls 3 we meet the nameless king who is Gwyn's firstborn son, but that doesn't mean Solaire can't be another son of Gwyn. Near the Sunlight Altar in Dark Souls 1, there is a statue of a human woman holding a baby, and the baby is clutching the Sunlight Straight-Sword. I believe that statue is of Solaire's mother as well as Gwyn's mistress. It's quite possible that this statue is constructed to honor and exemplify Solaire's deific connection. It is also possible that the Sunlight Straight-Sword was given to her as a parting gift when Gwyn left. If Gwyn had a child with this woman, Solaire would be a demigod. It would also explain why Solaire's intrinsic superhuman strength, I can't speak, despite being human in form, as well as his innate admiration. Oh my god, innate admiration for the son, as if it were his missing father he never knew.
I've got two things to say about that real quick. One, it's actually not the Sunlight Straight-Sword, and two, he's just Rock Lee, but for Dark Souls.
He's just what?
He's just Rock Lee, but for Dark Souls.
Who's that?
A guy from Naruto who's shit tier, designed as a joke character, but is one of the strongest fighters in Naruto because he tried really hard to be strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that the evidence is pretty clear in terms of the item descriptions from Dark Souls 1, which just says that he's just a regular dude. You know, there's nothing powerful at all, like nothing otherworldly at all about him.
He just got really swole.
Is he even that strong? He can't even fucking take Ornstein on while I try to kill fucking Smo.
He's pretty strong. He's pretty strong. Well, the fact that, I guess, that is just such a tough boss fight. But I think the fact that his summon sign is there is a testament to his strength, because they knew that for offline players, if nothing else, they needed to give a little bit of help for that boss fight, because most players wouldn't be able to make it through otherwise. I guess the same reason they have Slave Knight Gale in as a summon for
God,
yeah,
I hate that boss.
I had to do an entire episode of my blind playthrough of me dying. 45 minutes.
Well, yeah.
I wonder how Gale gets out of the painting. That's a really good question. Slifer 73, because not only does he get out of the painting, but he carries a scrap of the painting with him. So he really is carrying a world around in the palm of his hand, which is really fucked. Yeah, Gale, Slave Knight Gale.
Right.
Huh.
When you think about it, like the fact that he's just carrying it around. And like, where is the rest of the painting is another question. I think that.
Do we know if there's only one Slave Knight? Because if there's multiple Slave Knights, it would.
There's plenty.
Yeah,
but like
he
he seems to be the only lucid one.
No, but I think that the painting was entirely ripped into a bunch of fragments, and that they just went out all over the world looking for somebody who they could have fulfill what they
Maybe
did.
that's interesting.
Well, we know of at least 2, right? Because there's Slave Knight Gale himself, and then there's the set that we find in the Corvian village, the Corvian settlement.
Yeah, so there's at least 2. So there's probably multiple who are all out in the world looking for somebody who can help them.
I would probably count Leeroy as a slave knight in a way.
Which one's Leeroy?
Leeroy Jenkins,
exactly
the Paladin Leeroy.
Like, what do they say
1.
about slave knights in the description? It says like they were sent on like suicide missions, or they were sent on like the toughest missions because they could just die over and over and over again.
Yes,
like,
whereas
that's what the point of Leeroy was.
Yeah, Paladin Leeroy, because he was sent for kindling.
They gave him well, they gave him like the best weapons and things that they had, and so all right, go into the tomb of the giants and see how far you get. You know, just
was it Sanctus and what was the other one?
Sanctus, I can't remember the other one.
Sanctus is the weapon, and then the shield, which regens health.
Else.
I'm
pretty sure you can only get one per playthrough. Like one of those
you can
per
get both.
playthrough.
You can get both.
Oh, can you get both?
Yeah,
they're not made from souls.
You just have to kill him as an invader right outside Nito's boss room. Sanctus and
Grant.
Grant, that's right. Grant is the weapon. Sanctus is the shield.
Yeah.
Grant's the weapon. Grant's the big fuck off mace that you just hit people with and then they dodge because you can't hit them.
My favorite thing with Leeroy, with Paladin Leeroy, is jumping down to the spot where his sign is, summoning him in the catacombs, and then just sort of falling down to the next level, standing on the edge, and then watching him fight all of the all the bone wheels. And the best part is that his pathing will break because he doesn't know how to get back up to you if you just stand there. So he'll just run off into the distance, and like I've never been able to find him after that, but I do it every single time. Just because like he's so good at like distracting them, he can just walk straight to Pinwheel, no problem.
Wait, I mean, I just run past all of them.
What, the bone wheels?
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Well, why do that when you can let Leeroy take care of it, you know?
I'll be right back. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, Mitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there's really no need. If I don't think Pontiff was undead at all, Mr. Hornby. He was just a dude in the painted world. And so presumably that tree is like his mother or something? Because we were saying previously, someone was saying that there was like some sort of cut dialogue for the tree.
Yeah, it's the tree. I think it's specifically the tree that spawns the ladder. I think.
Yeah, in the depths of the painting.
Yeah, the one that spawns the ladder. Yeah. Not
the sword buff, but the other one.
Yeah, it's the one on the frozen lake.
Yeah. The depths of the painting. I don't know. I'm really interested to see, because I'm going to assume that the next DLC is going to be in some way, shape, or form a continuation of this one. Because otherwise, I don't see how the story resolved itself. But that could just be me. I don't know if anyone here watches Otsdarva.
Yep.
He was I don't know if he did. Was he really?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in here, but he was like in the chat.
Oh. Yeah. Yo, he's awesome.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
There's this one video where it's like top 5 reasons why Pontiff Sullivan's a good guy, and like the number one reason was that he's trying to protect you from going to that PvP area, the Pontiff's arena, and that he's actually a good guy because he's been trying to. There were a couple other good ones too good reasons he had in there, but no, I like his videos because there's really no one else who makes videos like him. They're all so absurd and over the top, and he's got a great sense of humor, I think.
Yeah, and he doesn't come up with dumb theories like Jake.
Would you rather smooch Jake or JSF? Why not both? Yeah, why not both?
I mean, why is it a choice between the two when you can have both?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh man,
the best of both worlds.
Jake says, well, I don't know if you can objectively answer that question, Jake, but yeah, has anyone heard or seen Smowtown Forever?
No, I think
poor guy must be like buried in work right now.
You just disappeared off.
I have no idea, dude. I really have no idea.
But we should plan to record another sort of proper beside the bonfires soon.
Yeah.
I finished all my marking for the semester, and I still have a bunch of shit to do. I still got to write a book chapter, but I have a couple of weeks of more time than I have had over the last couple of months. So
you can crack out a book chapter easily. You're a smart lad.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, if indeed I am a smart lad, I am a slow writing smart lad, because it takes me a very long time to write things.
Yeah, but is that because you have high standards for yourself, or just because you don't find the motivation to actually be doing the writing?
It's a little bit of both. Like, motivation is hard when you're basically, your job is to write all the time. But in part it's that I don't really edit. I just write from beginning to end, and I don't make mistakes. Like, I make mistakes, but I don't continue writing until, like, it's completely backwards from everything I learned in school, but that's basically how I write. Mm-hmm. I don't chart things out in advance. I just write, and then wherever my train of logic leads me, that's where I go.
Yeah, that got me in trouble before.
What, in school?
No, I was writing a story, and most of my stories I write for myself, but occasionally a couple of my friends get to see them. And I wrote this story and showed it to somebody, and then they're like, this contradicts itself, like the entire story. And it gets to the point where it's like, Leo, this is a different ending to the story than what you started with. Like, it's become a different story, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it happens, yeah.
And it's like, oh, even the focus of the main character changed. I didn't mean for that to happen. Whoops.
Well, and that's why it's important to also, even like if you do write in that style, it's also important to go back and reread the thing over and make sure it makes sense. So, like I say, I don't edit. Like, I do edit, but whereas, at least I was taught in school that you need an outline, this is your argument, this, and that. For me, I don't generally know my argument until I start writing the thing. And then, once... Like the book chapter that I'm supposed to write, I was commissioned to write it on the basis of a very different argument that I'm actually making while writing it. So, like, it's still within the spirit of what it was supposed to be, but it's very different. So, long story short, something works different for everyone. So just because you're taught that something works, it should be this way in school, doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. But the downside to that is that it just takes me really fucking long to write things. But yeah, that's writing corner with Aegon of Astora, not really where I'm sure. I would derail the entire stream. Like, I came in, we started talking. What was this? We were talking about metric versus imperial system and all these other random things. But I'm gonna get going and start preparing to do some more recording off camera or off stream, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Mitch, would an hour be okay? Enough time for you to get ready?
Yeah, that sounds fine. I'll probably have to head off shortly as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, just
wrapping this up.
I still have something here at my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, will you just contact me on Discord?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, man. Just let me know when you're good to go then.
Cool, man. We'll do. Well, thank you, Jake, for having me, and thank you everyone else in the chat for.
Take care.
I'm sorry that I couldn't be here for 2.5 hours. It's not bad. But
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. So I will talk to y'all later.
Sounds good. Take care, dude. I'll be in touch.